And everybody want a cuddle buddy for winter. You know what I want? Oh, I want something nasty. Why don't y'all ask for that? Why do y'all always want cuddle? I mean, we could do that too, but like, I want something nasty.
Let's read this together. They dated 16 years. Married for 30 days. She demands $160 million. This is why men don't want to get married.
I just realized that I'm not anybody's priority in life. I mean, I've known this, but it just kind of really hit me today. Like, wow, there's no one that prioritizes me in their life. And I feel like I prioritize a lot of people, but that is just like the nature of being a single girl with friends, or a single adult with friends, is that I prioritize my friendships because I have to, because I don't have anybody else, right? But like, realizing that I'm not anybody's priority is just like such a freaking bummer. Such a bummer. And it hurts, and it kind of feels like really bad. Like, did I make every wrong choice in life ever to end up in this place where like I'm no one's priority? But then like on the flip side of that is like I have to be my priority, and I just have to like live in that more. Like, I'm my priority. I am.
I've been telling people like, I'm okay, I'm fine. I'm okay, I'm fine. And I am. I'm okay, I'm fine. But I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated because I'm like, when am I going to meet the man that's just going to get it right? When am I going to meet the guy that's just like, I'm ready, I want you, I'm going to do what I have to do to get you and to keep you? When? That's the frustrating part. And that's the stuff that makes you like, I don't want to date. I don't want to be bothered. I don't want to think about it, talk about it. That's the stuff that be frustrating. That's the part where you be like, no, I'm not okay. Like, I'm okay with that person and that situation and that outcome. But in the grand scheme of things, no. Nobody ever feels okay that you have to like put yourself back out there. Be vulnerable again. Be back in the streets. I can't. I'm like...
The story feels illegal to tell, okay? I just ran into the mall and I was looking at bamboo clothes, and this black guy walks up, he works there, and we start talking about like toxic materials and stuff, and how certain like boxer briefs and whatnot have toxic materials that affect a man's testosterone, right? I say something of the sorts like, yeah, well, we literally shove cotton up our... He looks at me dead in the eye and goes, well, I'm a cotton picker. How do I even respond to that? I'm not allowed to laugh. What?
So is he going to have an opportunity to pick that cotton, or what are we doing?
I think my favorite pastime is trying to explain to people that you don't play with me because you're fucking scared of me, because you know I'll beat you the fuck up. So I'm really trying to figure out why the fuck you just got your haircut and I'm calling you, you're not answering your phone, and your fucking location is not showing. Saheem Tavon Blakewell, please don't fucking play with me, because you know this shit'll get real dark real fucking fast. Call me the fuck back and turn your fucking location on if I smack the shit out you.
Right now, men are dictating relationships. We're kind of on men's time, and I see a lot of women doing a lot for men that they're not theirs. They're kind of waiting for them to be ready, waiting for them to choose them, waiting for them to cut off other options, waiting for them to, and rather than walking away, they're just kind of like in limbo, and they're having kids with these men, and they're moving in with these men. And it's like a pseudo commitment. Like, having a child with someone doesn't secure them in your life. And I just think women aren't putting a lot of requirements on men.
Ladies, I don't mean to be an alarmist, but it's important to stay vigilant. A few weeks ago, I met this guy out at a bar. He seemed normal. His friends seemed normal, so I went home with him.
The next day, I was leaving, and he said, "Oh, I'll walk you to the train station. I'm leaving as well." And out of nowhere, he just nonchalantly grabs his rollerblades and a speaker. And I was like, "Oh, are you going to Goodwill?" And he was like, "No, Central Park." Which means I just the rollerblader. A performative one. The kind that does donuts while they blast Can't Stop This Feeling in the park. And there were no warning signs. It's not like he had a ponytail or a dangly earring. No, he was just a normal guy who did Showtime in the park. So, stay safe out there.
Y'all, me personally, nobody could ever make me feel bad or make me feel childish for still caring about my body count. Like, I don't care. Oh, well, guys, they got over 100 bodies. That's them. I will always care about the amount of people that I choose to share my body with and share that intimate, special type of experience with. And, like Jocelyn told Carly Red that one time, baby, these is rubies, not no diamonds.
I don't know who would. I mean, modern women are out here. I mean, I guess some women too. I don't know who would.
So if I'm being honest, when I was younger, one of the things that I required from a man is that he financially take care of me. I wanted a man that could finance my lifestyle. And at the time when I was younger, I would say when I was in my mid to late 20s especially, like I wasn't really like looking for a man to pay my rent because I didn't really have rent to pay like that. But, you know, pay my bills and pay my cell phone bills, give me money to go out and shop and things of that nature, right? And I realized the reason why I was looking for that, and I was like heavily looking for that, that was the only motivation for me to date, was because I was broke. It was because I was broke. If I'm being honest, that was the reason why. That was the motivation behind it. But now, being someone who is, I'm not broke, right? I'm not broke. I'm not like hungry. This is what I call hungry. This is why I say be careful when you're dating and you're hungry, meaning you're broke. Now that I'm not broke, I'm not hungry, I don't date for those purposes. I date for purpose. I don't date because I'm looking for somebody to finance something for me or to give me money. I'm looking for purpose. I'm looking to build something with someone. And yeah, I think that is the difference. And that's probably the easiest way for men to know whether or not somebody's broke or has good financial discipline, is based off of what they're asking you for. Because I ask a man, I'm like, yeah, I need my phone bill paid. I want to get my nails done. I want to do this. I want to do that. And that was based off of me just being hungry, not having the money to do it for myself. And if men really want to know whether or not a woman is a financial liability, whether or not a woman is with you because she actually likes you and not for your money, find out what her financial status is at this time. Is she working? Does she have money? Does she have financial discipline? And you will quickly learn what woman is, because most women who have money like that and who are financially disciplined, they're not asking you, that's not the first requirement. They want to know that you can treat them nicely. They want to know that you are a good man, that you are God-fearing, that you are, you yourself are financially disciplined, and you're not just spreading your wealth to every Shirley, every Nikki and Taina, whatever, So you want to be very disciplined in that, and use discernment. That is probably the easiest way for you to realize, or for you to know whether or not this girl that you're with is, after your money or not. Yeah.
So are you going to give them their money back, or are you going to start paying for dates? What are we going to be doing with it?
The double standard I will stick by until the day I die.
One part about this video that I can actually agree with is she acknowledged the fact that it's a double standard. Viewer discretion is advised.
Is that it is really cute, really fun, really sexy when a girl has a boyfriend and she does not show him off on social media. Okay. She keeps that close to the chest. You would never even know. Mm-hmm. When a man does that, that is scary. Why are there no traces of your girlfriend on any of your social media pages, especially if you're active? Who are you hiding her from?
Now, to the untrained eye, especially as a man, if you are new to the dating game, I'm pretty sure if you watch this video, you will probably think, oh shit, she definitely has a point. She in fact does not have a fucking point, and here's why. It's very simple actually, because men and women both cheat. And they both cheat at very, very alarming rates. This is not more one-sided than the other. The only difference is men get caught more. That's the only difference. But back to the topic at hand, I'm going to have to firmly disagree with her take because not only is it biased, it doesn't save or change anything. So for example, if a man is going to cheat on you or quote unquote hide you, if that's what he really wants to do, he will. Not only that, him posting you on his social media has never been proven to change anything when it comes down to cheating. I've seen plenty of men post their whole families and still go out and cheat. I've also seen plenty of women do the exact same thing, speaking from personal experience. Quick story time, I was at a little spot. Me and my boys out there, we met a group of women. Me and this girl were really clicked. Everything was going wonderful. We making out in the whole nine. At the end of the night, I'm like, yo, let me get your number, whatever. She's like, nah, I don't think I should give you my number. And I'm a little confused. I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense, but I'm not going to beg you for it. It is what it is. But where she messed up was her homegirl gave my boy her Instagram and her number. So my boy's following her friend. And of course, like every female group, they have pictures of each other where they are tagged. We go to her profile. She got a whole man that she just moved into a whole new apartment with literally like a week or two before I met her. So it all made sense why she didn't want to give me her personal information because she didn't want this shit to find her. Now, I personally don't give a fuck. That's none of my business. However, women cheat just as much as men. That's the whole fucking point. One thing I've learned about women, when they want something bad enough, it doesn't matter how they get it, they're going to get it. It doesn't matter what morals, boundaries, or standards that they cross. They will do what they need to do to get to where they really want to be. But all in all, I say that to say this. This unnatural allegiance and belief in social media that some of you women have is fucking weird. Y'all let social media dictate what should and shouldn't happen in your relationships. And that's exactly why a lot of y'all be walking around single and fucking miserable. But you know what? I know y'all not gonna listen to me. I'm just a normal guy. Y'all get the change.
Y'all, I'm about to crash out. I told this man I'm depressed because I used to be cute and skinny. Now I'm fat and ugly. He said, you're still cute.
Anybody else's man like this? I bought toothpaste for us. See, it's full. He, for a whole year, has been using this toothpaste. Somehow, he gets stuff out of it still. Every morning, he opens it up. He's like, oh, I think today will be the day I start using the new one. And he still pulls out. See, I can't even do it. See, there's nothing. I could see inside it. There is literally nothing in this toothpaste. But somehow, every morning, I'm standing there watching him for 10 minutes, and he somehow still manages to get something out of this. But he won't give up.
What?
Do you know what you did?
Yeah, I got paper plates like you asked me to.
We're not wealthy.
Yeah, that's why we're getting paper plates.
You got Dixie brand.
Okay. They were 3 for $15.
They're
on sale. I thought I did good.
That's $5 for 44 plates. I normally get like 100 pack for like $3.50.
Okay, they didn't have that at the dollar store.
They have
I did the
plates.
math. Yeah. Dude, that's 11 cents a plate. That's good for Dixie.
You're acting like we hit the lottery, Jason.
Oh my gosh.
And Bounty too. You have just gone off the deep end.
Bounty, yeah.
We always get that. No, we don't. I always get great value.
Yeah, and it doesn't pick up nothing. Plus, I just grabbed stuff. I was in a hurry.
Who do you think we are?
I don't know. I thought I did good. We got paper products. That doesn't mean me thinking. I didn't go out and get fine china.
That's Dixie. Dixie is the fine china of paper plates.
I have high taste, babe. Why do you think I chose you? Oh, what you gonna say about that? What you gonna say about that?
You know, it might be better if you guys start using real plates so that you wouldn't even have to buy that. You just wash them over and over again. Imagine that.
I'm gonna teach you how I got a man to send me rent money. When I was really bored a few years ago, I downloaded Hinge. There was this one guy who like sent me a rose. I had no intentions of meeting him, but he was just really cute, so I matched. But the thing is, I have really high standards, so he did not meet them. Immediately in my head, I'm like, he's not boyfriend material. I can say whatever I want to him and I would not give a fuck. I just sent him an Apple Pay request for $500. Lo and behold, he actually sends it. He must have been really desperate for a girl or just any sort of attention. I just entertained his little antics for a few days and then I blocked his ass. She looks so gorgeous. Brown sugar cinnamon vanilla bean oat milk latte with caramel macchiato cold foam. It looks so good. Chef's kiss. Anyway, sprinkle, sprinkle. I have all the tips and tricks on how to manipulate men because if they're gonna manipulate you, ladies, you gotta manipulate them back and get your rent money out of it.
So, I don't get it. If he paid for your rent, then why wouldn't you have kept him around a little bit longer? You know what I mean? Like, that's just 1 month. You guys are out here wasting time. I'm gonna tell you what, you don't have to worry about it because at some point in time, you're gonna get dogged out. Might not be that man, but man's gonna dog you out and you're gonna be like, I hate men. It's gonna be your fault. You had it coming to you.
Someone please tell me. Women only keep around men that they like. Okay? Men still keep around women that they don't like. Like, they will genuinely not like a girl and still keep her around. Like, that's kind of sociopathic. What? I don't get it.
And by don't like, she probably means the man's not paying for them. The man's not treating them like a gentleman. The man's not simping for them.
Things you should never do for a girl. Accept her flirting with other men? No, king. Let her control your social media and phone? No, king. Let her disrespect your mother and family? No, king. Give up your friends because she doesn't like them? No, king. Spend your entire paycheck on her designer bag? No, king. Accept her being rude to waiters? No, king. Let her disrespect you in front of others? No, king. Follow Gurmanova for more videos about Slavic women.
My husband is currently packing his bags and also packing our kids' stuff because he is going to leave to another state, all because I cheated on him with a mutual friend. My husband and I have been together for a while. No, I don't think there was any issues in the relationship or marriage whatsoever. I actually thought our life was pretty perfect, but then I decided to talk to one of our mutual friends and one thing led to another. I think I was just really tired of the fact that my husband was constantly working to make sure that we had a roof over our heads and to make sure that everything was paid. And so I just felt very lonely. So I decided that I was just going to message his friend, you know, just like we are friends, nothing else. That was it. And then all of a sudden it just led to something else. I mean, at least I had the balls to actually tell my husband what was going on because I could have kept it from him. You know, I could have just moved on without telling him shit. After I told him, I was very surprised about his reaction because he was not freaking out or panicking. He just said, okay, and then he said he was going to pack his shit and go, but he was also going to take the kids. He was very demure, if I can say that word. I guess I just thought he was going to accept the fact that I was cheating on him and then we could just move on and, you know, continue with our perfect lives. But no, he instead chose that he wants to actually leave with our kids, and now I'm panicking.
I worked at a gas station for years. And one day this guy comes in, and I know the guy because we're from the same area, but I don't really know him. Anyways, he comes in while I'm not working and asks my boss if she thinks if he stands any chance at all whatsoever with me. And she tells him no. I think she tried to make it out like I had a lot going on in my life and I just wasn't looking for somebody. About a week after he asks her, I see him at the Derby at our county fair. And I've already been told that he asked this. So I see him walking by the Derby cars and I holler at him to embarrass him. I'm like, hey, Adam. He got so red. He was so embarrassed. We've been together for 8 years now. He's my husband.
Sounds about right. They're going to try to hit on you and then go right behind your back and get him. He don't want you, ma'am.
What's wrong with guys these days? I can never find a good man.
Maybe it's you.
Me? What's that supposed to mean? I mean, since we friends, I can be honest with you. Sometimes you can be a little mean. And your conflict resolution, terrible. Every time a problem happens, you're running. And your emotional level of maturity is probably the lowest I ever seen. Like every time you get mad at a dude, you block him. And then after blocking him, you expect him to chase you.
Okay, well, there's nothing wrong with a little chase, all right? I mean, look at me. What you expect?
I mean, you look good, but you still need to learn how to handle conflict. You're supposed to talk through things, process them. And your choice in man, the most terrible I ever seen. Like, I never seen you date a good man. Every dude you dated was a player. Cheating on you every time, but then you be like, oh my God, I think I can change him. No, you can't. You can't change him. He gonna keep cheating, keep cheating, keep cheating.
Okay, I get it. Maybe I got some things I gotta work on, all right? Is that it?
Oh no, I mean, if you want some more truth, I can tell you. You're cooking, terrible. You don't even season your food enough, and it's just always a little bland, and that's not gonna keep nobody happy. And your attitude, look at you. Your arms crossed right now. Don't uncross them, cross them back. That's how you eat. You got an attitude problem.
Who you, bro?
You're weird.
Broke my game.
You're weird.
You broke my game. Do shit to you, bro.
I tend to, and I don't know if you guys would agree, I tend to give the advice to men that when your woman cheats on you, it's very difficult to forgive her. I wouldn't recommend it. I highly don't recommend it.
Men shouldn't forgive
Men shouldn't
her?
forgive.
Why not?
With women, I think there's room for flexibility depending on the causes and
This
so.
is going to get a lot of. This is going to get a lot of comments.
With
Okay,
men,
why should men not forgive the women they're with who cheat on them?
because for a woman to cheat on you, it's not that she's fallen in love with another man. She's just definitely not in love with you.
Ooh, man,
and
that's
so
gonna
for
hurt.
you to take her back is just providing her free accommodation until she meets a man she wants to fall in love with. And like a lot of men think, oh no, women are so emotionally attached to sex. No. Some women can literally have an affair with a local PT who doesn't care about her and she doesn't really care about him. It's what the driving force is not the love for the guy that she's cheating on. It's the lack of love and respect for the man she's cheating on.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Sometimes I really want to blame the men, okay, for everything here. But sometimes it's like, you need to go back to the roots of the problem. I just saw 3 videos back to back straight of like men talking about their dating stories and stuff like that. And this one woman went on another video and said something about how it's literally the women who have no standards whatsoever that are actually ruining the game here. And I agree. Now, I'm not going to give all men a freaking pass for this, but it's literally the guys that get away with saying some out-of-pocket stuff, being super disrespectful, complaining about, going 50-50 and all this freaking nonsense. The reason why is because they've had women that would tolerate their BS. They would tolerate their poor behavior. And so we have to clock it, guys. We need to clock it, ladies, all right? Because I really want this page to be a lot more female than men heavy, because my other page is super men heavy. But for real, we have to clock this ahead of time. Like, we need to be teaching our young ladies what to accept and reject. Just like when I talk about your energy, like, you can accept and reject energy. You can accept and reject comments and whatever. Accept and reject the men that do not want to treat you with respect and treat you like you are the ish, because you freaking are. And also, you are only the ish if you show up like you're the ish. If you think that you're not pretty, that you don't have it going on, you're not very smart, that you don't deserve things, that, oh my God, he called me beautiful, like, he deserves everything now. Like, no! Raise your freaking standards, okay, of what the bare minimum is. If you're telling me a coffee date and FaceTime is your bare minimum, like, that is not even, that's below bare minimum for me. Like, you sitting up here like contemplating you're gonna FaceTime me, contemplating you're gonna call me, contemplating you're gonna text me. Are you out of your mind? Communication is literally below the freaking bare minimum. You're not communicating with me. I don't think you like me. And I don't do coffee dates, okay? I don't. I do business dates at coffee shops. So if I'm at a coffee shop, we're doing business. If you want my time, for real, I need that commitment of your time, because I'm that type of woman that literally, I have little time. I run businesses and all this other stuff. I do not have the time to sit here and do a little tiny coffee date with just 10 different people. I would literally do 2 dates with 2 different people for an extended amount of time, and I have to, and at that point I filter them, you feel me? And so then I'm not wasting my time, because I just don't have time for that. And you know what, ladies,
you don't have time for that either, because I know you're already getting to the bag. You want high quality, you're high quality. Let's just not keep going on dates with whoever and giving our time to whoever, because you are valuable, okay? But same to my men too. If you're going out with crazy people, like, you're valuable as well. Just, your time is valuable. Understand that and remember that. So that's my little rant.
But a lot of the times, this self-esteem play, it doesn't really work, right? Because at the end of the day, you have to know the questions to ask. You can feel great about yourself and you're still going to be single. There's a lot of modern women out here like that. They don't have a man. They've done the healing work. And you know why they're single? Because they keep on running to the wrong man anyway. Because they don't know what they're looking for. They don't know what questions to ask. You need to be worried about taking your pride down 2 or 3 notches. And then asking that man, okay, what is it that you're planning on doing in the next 4 to 5 years? What's your vision for life? How do you see a woman fitting into that? Like, what does that look like for you? Just some really, these questions can be anything, honestly, that you want them to be, but they need to be based on where you think that you're going, what you're actually looking for, your values in life, how you think you can compliment a man and a man can compliment you. And once again, it's not no BS. I want a 6-foot man that protects and provides, and he's a generous man. Bull crap.
I saw a TikTok of a woman asking if masculine liberal men exist, and this guy replied. But it had me thinking, like, why do people equate masculinity with Republicans and non-masculinity with liberals? Because if you look at all the political talking heads of the right, like Ben Shapiro, Nick Fuentes, Matt Walsh, I guess maybe Matt Walsh might be somewhat of an exception. Charlie Kirk, rest. Like, none of them scream masculine at all. And I understand that, like, Harry Sisson, Dean Withers, those guys don't scream masculinity either. But, like, Hassan Piker is right there. That is, like, the most attractive, the most masculine looking political talking figure that exists, and he's a far leftist. Like, Joe Rogan does not scream masculine to me. It screams like my alcoholic uncle that passed away. Like, there's not one political right-leaning man that screams masculine man to me. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not even here to say that, like, liberals are super masculine. I just think it's, like, equal on both sides for the most part. Like, there are scrawny little Republican dudes running around because they're insecure. But there's also, like, big, buff, masculine liberal men who exist. So I understand it's just, like, a stupid stereotype that these people have in their heads, but I just don't understand why they have this stereotype, because, again, all the top, like, right-wing political men do not scream masculine. They do not give masculine. So why would anybody think that they are the party of the masculine men?
I have yet to meet a woman who's gotten divorced, and not that they don't exist, but who's gotten divorced and wasn't glad.
Oh my gosh.
And wasn't like, you know, it's hard, yes, but I am better than I was before. I was thrilled. The minute my papers were signed, when I tell you, I mean, I could have streaked naked down Sunset Boulevard. I was so damn happy, okay?
A woman in the comments said, I got congratulated more on my divorce than when I got married. Older women were so excited for me. I don't think I need to add anything there.
I think that you're trying to bait men into clips you can use to make us look bad. Do you want to do an interview?
Yeah,
I bet.
you look manly.
Do you like doing this?
Yeah.
You know, I'm familiar with your page. And I think that you really are lacking intellect in your questions. I mean, it seems like you go around to people with no game plan. And why is that?
Huh, interesting. So you don't like it?
I think if you had something of substance to ask people instead of off-the-top questions, you might get further.
You don't think there's any substance in just sort of the way people reveal themselves?
No, I think that you're trying to bait men into clips you can use to make us look bad.
Oh, interesting. No, I'm just neutral. I'm just talking to men.
Sure.
All right, well, good to know you're a fan.
I'm not.
Okay, you're not a fan. You're one of my haters.
Not that either.
You're neutral.
Observing.
Okay. Okay, that's all I'm doing too. Just observing.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's nice to meet you.
Well, I think what he's saying, and he's got a point. With the way that you ask the questions, you make it seem like, no, it's just a question to reveal, what a man is thinking. No, there's a certain way that you can ask the question, is I think what he's saying. Instead of saying, why are you like this as a man? With the way society has gone, with what you hear on social media, if he's come across your page and he's familiar with it, he's probably seen other pages and other TikToks and clips about women talking reckless about men. Why are men like this? Why do men act like that? Why are you guys, you guys are not lonely enough. The male loneliness epidemic. That's what he's referring to in his mind. And instead of saying, well, no, I really just want to kind of get into the mind of a man. I know my clips say X, Y, and Z, but really what I'm out here to do is figure out the male perspective. Why do men think like they think? On what? Well, I don't really have a subject on that. Just different things. Just whatever comes to your mind. How do you think about that? I'm for sure I think different from you on food or just on a topic out there. Well, yeah. Well, and then you start to have a conversation about whatever it is. Well, what about politics? And you have a conversation about politics, conversation about religion, family, kids, whatever it is. That's what he's talking about. It doesn't really go anywhere. It doesn't start with anything. So that's what he's getting at. Well, the man exposed himself, and why is he so reactive? Why is he so hostile? Why is he so aggressive? No, he was asking her, right? What you're saying, and he was telling her what you're saying doesn't really have a lot of substance to it. He's kind of right. He's kind of right. There was a dude way back when, I think she asked the same question, why are men like that? And he said, well, because, women take all your stuff and they leave you with nothing and whatever else he said, right? So a lot of it is framed, and she knows this, a lot of it is framed in the way that, well, men are bad people, right? So I don't think it's her mission to try to make men look bad, like terrible. But what he's saying is, well, the way you put the clips out there, that's what it's doing, is it's making us look bad. Why do you do that when we have people all over our back? Can you give us some help? That's what he's saying.
Dating women is hard, and I'm going to give you 7 reasons why from my perspective. If this is your first time seeing me, I am a bi woman. I am an equal opportunity hater. Not really, but I am an equal opportunity critiquer. Keep in mind, this is just my experience. This is just patterns that I've seen. If you're a woman who doesn't fit any of this, then if the shoe fits, don't wear it. Number 1, women tend to put too much weight on their emotions and fantasy in early stage dating. I noticed when I first started dating women that a lot of women want to feel a big spark for you almost immediately. And a lot of times if they don't feel those big feelings, they won't give you a chance for a second or third date. The problem is that there are some people who are just more sparky than others. Like, I'm somebody who, when you first get to know me, I'm very introverted. I'm generally not going to be the most charismatic person in the room. I've had situations where I went on a date with a woman and maybe had 1 or 2 dates, and then she told me that she just saw me as a friend. So I actually like having queer friends. So I was open to a friendship with these women. But then I've had multiple situations where it would be, 7, 8 months, a year down the line where I stayed friends with a woman and put her in the friend category because that is the category that she put me in. And then later on she says, oh, well, I developed feelings for you. And it kind of, in some way, definitely made me feel bad about myself, because in my head, I'm like, well, why do you have feelings for me now? I wanted to date you back then, and we went on a couple dates and you said that you weren't interested in me like that. And I think what happens sometimes is that there are some people who are just very sparky. They're very charismatic. And so a lot of people feel big feelings for them right immediately after meeting them. And there's people like me who are more introverted, who are not generally going to be the most charismatic person in the room. But because some women are accustomed to that sort of style, and especially women who date men, and this could apply to men too, where a woman might be used to the treatment of someone sort of being super confident, super charismatic. And because you're going to have more exposure to that type of person, because that person is generally, if you're out, going to be shooting their shot at you more or being more proactive on the apps, I think that some women just get into a situation where they assume if someone isn't super charismatic and able to make that instant impression where they make you feel like you have some otherworldly connection on the first date, they kind of just throw it in the towel because they want those big feelings. But sometimes those big feelings don't happen until date 5, date 6. And I'm not saying in every situation that you should just give somebody a chance if it's like an absolute no. If you know that you're not attracted to somebody, then of course don't go on a second or third date. But I do think that a lot of women kind of put people into certain archetypes, and they have like a type and they want this very specific type. It's almost like if they go on a date with you and they can like project their fantasies onto you, they will almost be hyper-focused on getting you to the point where they'll overlook all the red flags. But if you are not the image in their head that they envisioned, or they're not feeling the big fantasy emotions that they want to immediately, a lot of times they tend to kind of push it to the side. They don't actually give it a chance to see what it could develop into if it wasn't what they previously envisioned, or if they don't feel these big emotions for you immediately. Number 2, building an emotional connection before creating sexual tension will mostly get you friend zoned. I know a lot of ladies are not going to like that I say this, but I honestly believe it's the truth based on my experience. And this might be more applicable to women who are on dating apps, who maybe are used to that sort of microwave dating that we have going on now. But in my early 20s, I used to go on many dates with women where I would try to build an emotional connection before adding some physicality. And what happened in almost every situation is that almost every woman told me that she just saw me as a friend. And I understand that some people are just not going to like you, and that's a part of life. But after this happening, 5, 6, 7 times, I had to look at myself and be like, what is wrong with me? This was really hitting my self-esteem because I felt like there was something fundamentally wrong with me. And then I talked to my guy friend, who I've been friends with since middle school. And he told me to go over the date and tell him what happened. I tell him what happened, and he's like, no. You have to go in for the kiss by the end of the first date, or you're going to get friend zoned. And at first I really kind of pushed back on that because that was just not what I was taught. That is not what a lot of women kind of said that they wanted or seemed to want. You always hear a lot of women saying that they want this emotional connection before anything, else is added, and that people are too pushy these days. And I thought that building this emotional connection would make her more attracted to me once it was actually time to add some physicality to the mix. But truly, I don't think that a lot of people date like that anymore. And most women that I've dated have expected me to make the first move. And if I don't, it's almost like there's just this vibe that doesn't happen. And a lot of times she's also not working to create that flirty vibe either, especially a bi woman who is used to dating men. They are used to the courting patterns of men, and they're used to very assertive, confident men shooting their shot, to the point where if somebody doesn't make the interaction non-platonic from the jump, I just think a lot of them won't be interested in you. And that's been my experience across the board. I kept constantly getting rejected again and again and again and again until I changed the strategy. And so now when I go on dates with women, I'm not pushy or coming across weird, but I do make sure to flirt. I do make sure to make the interaction non-platonic. I do go in for a kiss by the end of the date. Unless the date is very obvious that it's kind of awkward and we don't really feel a vibe, then obviously then I won't. But yeah, I just think a lot of women don't admit that there is an expectation on the other person to make the move, or else they sort of in their mind just don't really view you as a romantic option. And I think a lot of this is also more subconscious. And I also understand there's going to be outliers, but that has generally been my experience. And that leads me to number 3. Women have little tolerance for lack of confidence in the beginning, even if they are not confident. I understand this as a woman myself. Confidence is one of the number one things that I'm attracted to. So I will hold myself accountable on this one as well. But I do think for a lot of women, confidence is their kryptonite. And they are often attracted to people who are super confident on the date with them, who are self-assured, who don't really care that much about rejection. And I understand why confidence is so attractive. But I do think that sometimes women don't have empathy for how hard it is to actually approach them, initiate a date, keep a conversation going. A lot of people might be great partners for you, but they're not the most confident in the very beginning. And a lot of times if somebody really likes you or is very attracted to you, it's normal to be awkward and fumble a little at first. And it doesn't mean that that person might not be confident later on. It's easier to grow more confidence once somebody gets to know you and knows that you're not sort of judging their every move. But a lot of times I do think that women's sexual attraction to somebody is directly tied to their confidence. And a decent amount of women will lose attraction to somebody if they're not confident, because they want somebody who will make all the moves, initiate, at least in the beginning. And I do think sometimes it can come across lazy, because it's oh, I'm attracted to somebody who does everything in the beginning so I can kind of feel validated and not have to risk any of the awkwardness or rejection that comes with me having to put in a little bit of effort to create that spark. You just want someone who's going to kind of put it on you. Number 4, some women expect every person they date to handle rejection with grace, while they handle rejection extremely poor. So I'm going to give an example from my own life, and then I'm going to make some observations about other things that I've seen some women do. So I went on a date with this woman. We went on, I think, maybe 1 or 2 dates. She ended up only wanting to be friends, and so I was happy to be friends because I wanted more queer friends. We stayed friends for probably 7 to 8 months after that. Our dynamic later on started to get a little bit more flirty. So I thought maybe it was going somewhere. We started to cuddle a little bit more. We would be overtly flirting with each other. Sometimes we would hold hands, but we still mostly just had a friendship. But I thought it might have potential to go somewhere, or at least somewhere non-platonic. But she also had another guy that she was seeing, and I was cool with non-monogamy, so I didn't mind. So she was casually hooking up with this guy, and one time they hung out, but he was just tired. He was too tired to have sex. And so she got really upset, and she called me, and she came over to my house. I was consoling her and making her feel validated. And she was just telling me about how she felt so undesired because he didn't want to have sex with her. And I felt genuine empathy for this woman. But at the same time, I did feel like there was this part of me that felt yeah, you don't feel desirable because he doesn't want to have any sort of physicality with you. And that to you also symbolizes some form of validation or intimacy. And not that I would ever want this woman to do something with me that she didn't want to. I was happy to just be friends with her. But she was the one who kind of initiated more flirting and sort of escalating our relationship. And so there was a part of me that felt
well, it just comes back down to women, a lot of these modern women not knowing what they want. And it makes it very difficult for a man. A man could say or do or try to do anything. I mean, you got to understand there's men out there that have bought women flowers on a date. And the woman has looked the man in his face and said, "What are you doing? I hate flowers." Instead of just saying thank you. The man will bring her to Cheesecake Factory. And she's saying, I'm not getting out the car. It's so weird. But this is what men have to try to walk through or sift through or swim through. And a lot of men are saying, man, instead of me wasting my time on foolishness, I'm just going to go back to the house. And women get upset. And then they're asking, where are the good men at?
Maturing is realizing that you are not ready for your husband. Let's yap for a second. So I went to premarital counseling, and on the first session of premarital counseling, they ask, what is your mission and or vision for your marriage, right? So it took me a second to think like, okay, what does that mean? Because in my mind, my mission is we get married, like we build a foundation, we continue to grow, and you know, the basics that everybody think about marriage. So with my response being so vague, the minister responded back and said, let me ask you this. What is your role as a wife? And what are the roles of a husband? So I'm naming off, you know, the surface level stuff like, oh, I cook, you know, I clean the house. I'm going to take care of the kids. I'm going to make sure, you know, we have everything that we need. And then he's going to protect and provide and, you know, all the cute stuff, right? So he then went over the official meaning the Christian and biblical roles of a wife and a husband, you know, from a Bible standpoint. And when he got to naming stuff off the list, I was like, wait a minute, that's not me. And that's not what I had in mind. And I think that we should take some more time to like understand what does marriage actually entail, and not just the surface level stuff that we see all over social media. And when he got to calling out those qualities that a wife should have to be a great wife to her husband, I had to look in the mirror and be like, that's not me. And just being truthful with myself, like, and to even ask myself, is that something that I desire to be? Because it's one thing to want to get married to be like kept or put up or taken care of. But once they get to talking about those real qualities, like, are you ready to sit back and let your husband lead? Are you ready to be quiet and let your husband speak? And at the time, baby, the answer was no. Not to say that one day I won't grow to be in that level, but I think it's very important that when you are making a big commitment like marriage or even the discussion of marriage, to understand what that actually entails. And it's bigger than who got the biggest ring, who bought somebody a truck and a car, and who paid the bills and this and that. Like, it really runs deep, especially if you're looking at it from a big biblical standpoint.
Well, this is what men have been saying over and over again. You guys are real clear. Everybody, the world, society is real clear on what a man needs to be doing. But when a man says, I'm real clear on what I need to be doing, what is it that you need to be doing? And then you say a bunch of generalizations and nonsense like you told the pastor there. And he says, okay, well, let's slow down a little bit. Only he said it very nicely. Let's slow down. And he worked with you. He said, let's slow down a little bit and see if we can get you back on track. You're like a lot of modern women, but you took accountability for, oh man, maybe I'm not ready. That don't sound like me. I wouldn't want to do that. Men know that. That's why they're not approaching. That's exactly the reason. If you couldn't help a man out by giving him a signal, a clear signal, instead of just saying he should have been able to read my mind. Why is that important? When we're in an emergency, or a situation where maybe there's a lot going on, you need to be able to communicate effectively, efficiently, and speedily. We don't have no time for you should have been able to, all that stuff. What do you need? I need to do it right now. Right. We don't need no going back and forth. We don't need no arguing. We don't need none of that. We need, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. Okay, boom, 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 boom. I'll meet you on the other side. That's what we need. And that's going to stay the same way throughout life. This is what I need. I got to have this from you. The same way throughout life. Modern women don't get it. They're sitting up there thinking about drinking sweet tea. They're sitting up there thinking about being a passenger princess. A man is saying that's great, fantastic, but we got to work for that. We got to work to get that. Oh, well, I thought we was going to build together and have a fantastic life. How do you think we're going to get it if we don't work? How do you think? And work hard, struggle, sacrifice, strain. How do you think we're going to get it if we don't have that? Oh, I don't think I'm cut out for all that. God send me a man that's 6 foot, 6 figures, 6-pack. Send me a man that's already finished. And I don't have all my stuff together, but God, if you send me a man that is understanding, he's generous, he's patient, then I can be on my bad behavior. I can be on my worst behavior. And I'm not going to change. That's why you need to send me a patient man. And when I get about 45, 50, and, I've come to, or I've decided the street life isn't for me anymore and I've come to my senses, that's when I'll look back and realize, oh. Ladies, let me tell you, as a woman of God, it's so important to get you a man of God that knows who he is. He's not moving. He's not going anywhere. That man of God, and all the while they screaming and cheering and hollering. And all that man of God is stuck by me when I was sick. He's stuck by me when I was in the bed hurting. My body racking with pain is stuck by me. I don't want to hear that. That's just you being inconsiderate for 30, 40 years. That's what that is. That's you not listening to what he needed, only giving him the bare minimum for 30, 40 years. And then, because you've been together so long, by his work and sacrifice, now you can open your mouth just based off of seniority. You know those people that be working a job and they only get the job because they've been there for so long? That's what you modern women are. Y'all just get the job based on seniority. You're not good at your job. You suck at it. You do the bare minimum. You get raises for inflation. You get a title because everybody in the company had left and went on to bigger and better things. They, down the road, got bigger positions, bigger and better pay. Could have been you, but you didn't try. And now that you're the only one at the company that been there long enough to know everything, then they go ahead and give you the title, or we're promoting you after 20 years. Okay, great. All the people that then came in after you, younger than you, then already passed you up. But you're just happy to be there because that was bare minimum. That's what a husband has to deal with. This type of mindset. They're miserable. And they wonder why men check out. They wonder why men don't want to protect and provide. They wonder why men don't really want to give their all to anything. Don't want to paint nothing. Don't want to do anything on the honey-do list. Because y'all really don't give no effort. Y'all don't give no thought into what you should be doing.